The Third Witcher is a game that has already become legendary. It is beautiful, atmospheric, and addictive. One of those games that can give you hundreds of hours of adventure. The special charm of the game is given by its gorgeous open world. It seems so alive that sometimes you can forget that it is just a computer game. In every corner of this world, on every track, street of every city, or even just a random place of a random forest, the player can run into interesting quests, dialogues, and other activities. On the first playthrough, it is simply impossible to visit absolutely all points of this world. At the same time, it is advised not to use fast travel, for any such movement is a risk of missing another interesting quest or another fascinating story. That is why we decided to tell you guys about the best hidden quests in the Third Witcher game. Even now, already 10 years after the game's release, you still might have missed some of them. For that, you will have to pay attention to literally every note and every little thing in your path. Yes, you can just stumble upon them by accident, or just explore a seemingly ordinary location with witcher senses, but few people find them all the first time. They are absent on the message boards or other usual points of obtaining quests on the map. They can be found only by carefully exploring the world of the game, but without them, The Witcher 3 would not be that unique game. Of course, if you don't want to look at these quests and wish to find them in the game yourself, then for you guys this video will be full of spoilers. So be careful. For the rest of you guys, the word from the old Witcher is enjoy. If you guys enjoy our videos and feel like supporting our content and us in particular, then we're excited to tell you that we are launching our Patreon and YouTube sponsorship. So feel free to check out the link in the description below and become our sponsors as a result. In return, we promise to continue to provide you guys with a top-notch quality content. Also, as of now, we're thinking about sponsor rewards, and opinions are more than welcome. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe buttons, and the bell, while we get back to the topic of today's video. Empty Coup. We'll start by exploring Velen. Geralt can get the quest Empty Coup in No Man's Land, east of Novigrad, near the bridge between the Meyersdorf apiary and the Dancing Windmill. Over there, near a lonely hut, our white wolf meets an old woman named Yanina, who complains that the chickens are systematically disappearing in her farm. Moreover, these chickens are stolen by some amazing creature, with wolf's paws, but bipedal, as these are the footprints left after him. Probably a new kind of werewolf.
Get a look at the thieves?
What thieves? It's monsters taking me chickens. An ordinary thief I'd nab on me own, but beasts? What am I to do?
There is war all around and the chickens are disappearing, so how can we live here? The old woman asks Geralt to destroy the monster that is bothering her chickens. The Witcher may agree. In that case, he will follow the trail of the two-legged wolf and will notice that at some point the trail changes to the footprints of children. Eventually, Geralt will find a campfire around which war orphans are sitting, carelessly cooking themselves a dinner of birds stolen from that old lady. They made themselves boots from wolf's paws so that the old lady would not look for them, but they did not think of crawling on all fours. In the end, Geralt will have a choice. He can either leave things as they are or try to convince Yanina to take in the orphans. After all, it's a win-win for everyone. They will help her in her old age, and she will provide them with shelter and food. If Geralt manages to convince the old lady, then after coming to her house sometime later, he will see these orphans already playing in the yard, and will be able to overhear some funny dialogue between them. Novigrad Hospitality. While walking along the path northeast of the village of Yantra, the Witcher can meet two poets who are talking about art while emptying vodka bottles. The conversation is interesting, and the place is inappropriate, but the vodka brightens up any conditions. Geralt can join this high-spirited drinking party, but he will not be able to outdrink the bards. In the morning, after another definitely last drink, the Witcher finds himself naked and barefoot. The bards have robbed him of everything. Only his Witcher senses help Geralt to find the crooks and take his property back. If the Witcher is particularly angry, he may even demand the clothes of the bards, which they, not wanting to fall under the hot hand of the Witcher, will reluctantly give, remaining in only their underwear.
Not quite. We'll be good once you give me your things.
All of them?
You can keep your knickers.
Harassing a troll. Trolls are some of the most interesting creatures of the Witcher universe. Without them, games about Geralt would lose much of their charm. It is the quests with trolls that most often bring fun and laughter. By the way, Do check out a video on trolls on our channel. The link will be in the description below. A lot of them are placed at important plot points and places that are very hard to miss. But there is one that can only be found by exploring Velen well, in the north of the peninsula, where the inn at the crossroads is located. You can meet a troll that has been attacked by a pack of neckers. If you help the troll to fight off the annoying monsters, you can get an interesting dialogue with him. It turns out that the troll's name is Boris, and he was cooking a special soup according to an old troll recipe, in which he used a necker for a special delicate flavor. That is why the creatures went berserk, though Boris did not understand this reaction because he only cooked one necker, and it was unclear what all the others wanted.
Well, you put one of their brothers in the pot. It's natural they'd be a bit upset.
Oh, these are wanting too. Jealousies.
He doesn't cook people because people sometimes say interesting things. The troll likes to talk, so he rarely messes with people. As a reward for his help, he will give Geralt a rotten elf's head, calling it a real delicacy, as tasty as a tomato. Death by fire. From the quest of fun, we move on to a more down-to-earth and grim quest. In Velen, a few hundred meters west of the Codger's Quarry on the map, you can notice the marking of some house. Upon arriving there, Geralt finds a disconcerting sight. Several men are standing around watching the house burn. No one is even trying to put it out, and the men are only snapping at Geralt's questions. Turns out there is an elf woman living in his house, and these are bandits who came to rob her. The victim, however, refused to tell where her goods are hidden, so the bandits decided to execute her brutally. The Witcher can either stay out of the way or deal with the sadists and free the elf from the blazing building. In the second case, in gratitude for her rescue, she will tell him where she hid her small fortune, and the Witcher can take the money as a reward.
I've yet to thank you for your aid, Vatgern. My coin lies concealed in a hollowed-out stump behind the house. Take what you wish. It's dangerous to possess too much in these times.
A barn full of trouble. In his wanderings, Geralt can visit the village of Karsten, which is not far from the Vegelbud residence. There he sees two men standing near a closed barn, talking about what to do next. The Witcher may ask if they needed help, and the villagers will tell him that they have locked up some necrophages in the barn that they didn't know how to deal with. They will promise Geralt a fair payment if he agrees to solve their problem. The Witcher might agree to help. In that case, he would destroy the ghouls, and he would notice that the necrophages had fled to the smell of the dead bodies that lay in the barn. It turned out that the village in question had been systematically robbed by bandits. One day, they wanted not only money, but also local women. As a result, the villagers revolted and took the brazen bandits to the pitchforks. They hid the corpses in a shed, as they did not know what to do with them. The smell of decomposing flesh attracted the necrophages, and so this unpleasant situation was created. The villagers will be honest, they will pay the Witcher promised and even wish him a good day, and Geralt will outline his gratitude with valuable advice. A warm welcome. War is a hard time when ordinary people have a hard time finding their place in the world, especially if their house has been burned down and they have nowhere to live. Refugees are a must in any war, and they are forced to survive. A few such unfortunates have gotten into trouble in Velen. To the west of the Vegelbud residence, near the wet fields and not far from the local lakes, Geralt can spot a picture of Novigrad soldiers not letting refugees pass through, heading for the city where they might find a second chance at life. The Witcher can either leave it alone or kill the guards who are just following orders, or bribe them, or cast a spell, if the player puts enough points into the Axis sign. In the last two cases, the refugees will be very grateful to the Witcher, and one of them will even tell Geralt about a secret treasure that can be found on a small mountain west of the village of Downwarren. Strangers in the night. Not far from the bridge that is west of the Vegelbud residence, Geralt can meet a very strange company consisting of a scholar, a merchant, and a soldier of the Redanian army. The Witcher may join in on the interesting conversation, and depending on how he will conduct it, the situation can turn out to be a huge number of options for the development of events. Because in the end, the merchant will know too much and talk too much. Because of this, the soldier will think the merchant is a Nilfgaardian spy.
Nilfgaardian, no less.
Can't actually know he was a spy.
Oh, he was. I know him on sight. Seen my share.
The Witcher can either remain neutral side with the merchant, or help the soldier. In the latter case, it will turn out that the merchant seems to be indeed from Nilfgaard, as his purse will be full of imperial gold. A dog's life. Halfway between the villages of Drudge and Arton, you can see a pack of wolves trying to maul a dog. If Geralt decides to help the lonely dog and destroy the wolves, he will get an interesting additional quest. After examining the dog, the Witcher will see that there is a key attached to its collar. The dog will then run down the path, and if Geralt follows him, they will eventually come to the house near which the bandits are prowling around. After killing the bandits, the Witcher will enter the house, and inside he will find a cache with a note explaining what happened and a small fortune of the man who lived in the house. The man was killed by bandits, with whom he could not agree, and there was only a dog left, which will simply disappear after Geralt leaves the house. Last rites. We will finish our list of the best hidden quests in Velen with a quest that can only be obtained if you walk late at night, in game time that is, to a small bridge that is north of the village of Blackbow. Near that bridge, you can meet an old woman who complains that she can't sleep well because of her husband, who has long since died in the war, but whose spirit keeps coming back to her and calling her to him. The old lady wants to visit her husband's grave and at least bring her wedding ring to calm him down, but she's afraid to go to the grave through the forest. She asks the Witcher to do it for her, and when he agrees and receives the ring, she suddenly disappears as if she had fallen through the ground. Well, considering that it's dark, for it's nighttime, Geralt doesn't pay much attention to it. The Witcher goes to the grave of her husband, and having put a ring on it fulfills the quest. Returning to the old lady's house for the reward, he notices that in this house there is only a young girl Essie, and there is no old lady. It turns out that the old woman who lived here died a long time ago, and Geralt spoke to her spirit, who wanted to reunite with her husband in the afterlife. Interestingly, there's another hidden thing in this quest. If Geralt, after placing the ring on the grave of the old lady's husband, shines Keira Metz's lamp on this grave, you will see an interesting dialogue between the ghosts of the old man and the old woman.
At last, will ye forgive me?
Already have.
Strumpet in distress. From Velen, we move to Novigrad, and since this city is famous for its brothels, we will start with a quest related to Novigrad prostitutes. Most of the Novigrad ladies working in this business seem to perceive their profession as absolutely normal, and even try to diversify it. Thus, on the streets of the city you can meet a couple, a guard and a strumpet. The man is obviously calling the girl names and wants to take her by force. She snaps at him, and at first glance wants to get rid of him. The Witcher can intervene in this conversation and stand up for the strumpet, threatening the guard with reprisals or calming him down with a sign of Axii. But in the end, it turns out that the Witcher only ruins everything. After all, the man calling her names is a regular customer of the lady in question, and in fact, everything that happened was just a role-playing game. Apparently being accustomed to different suitors, the lady just wanted a change.
I'm lost. Is he in the scenario?
Scenario?
Stop spoiling our fun, alright?
That's why she acts hard to get, and he's being a rude prick. So after being quote-unquote protected by noble Geralt, she will only ask him to mind his own business and hurry away before he finally ruins her evening with the client. Hey, you want to look at my stuff? Walking through the streets of Novigrad, the Witcher Geralt may notice a strange halfling who trades in a blind spot, absolutely not intended for that. His goods are magical ingredients, and he collects them from the houses of sorcerers who were burned during the witch hunts. He will offer Geralt his services, but before he can even show what he has, he notices the witch hunters and quickly flees the place. The Witcher can either cover the halfling or tell the hunters all about it. Then he will be able to find the trader by the smell of the alchemical potion that he dropped while running away in a hurry. If Geralt didn't turn the merchant in to the witch hunters, the latter will be grateful and will give the Witcher great discounts on his goods. The Soldier's Statuette and the Nobleman's Statuette. In Novigrad, Geralt can find many strange things. Some of them, however, can be beginnings of very interesting stories. Some of these trinkets are jade statuettes of a soldier and a nobleman. The first one can be found on the top floor of Caesar Bilzen's house. The second one can be spotted on one of the stalls in the noble folk district of Novigrad. Both of these statuettes are not ordinary, and they reek of magic. If the Witcher thinks to show these statuettes to the sorceress Triss Merigold, she will realize that these are not simple figures but real people enchanted with the spell of artifact compression. She will be able to dispel that. An Nilfgaardian warrior would emerge from the soldier statuette. The last thing he remembered was the battlefield at Sodden Hill, where he was carrying orders to the commander of the right flank of the army. He was bewitched by a little maid, nicknamed Coral. The Witcher knew the latter well, and the soldier's story reminded him of the events of long ago. It had been about 10 years since the Battle of Sodden, so Triss advised the soldier to go to the Novigrad Var Atre villa. If Triss works with a second statuette, it will turn out that the one imprisoned via the artifact compression was a Temerian nobleman. It was the same Coral who had once punished him for treason. Yep, the character of this enchantress was not a gift.
So Coral enchanted him, just like her.
If there's a more vindictive sorceress, I don't know her. Well, except maybe...
The nobleman will be grateful for the rescue and will reward Geralt with a valuable gift. Interestingly, both today's quests can only be completed while Triss is still in Novigrad. That is, before the quest Now or Never, or after the blindingly obvious quest. Therefore, it is worth exploring the city of Novigrad as soon as you get there. A Tome Entombed. Novigrad and its catacombs are very interesting. Some of them, however, will be revealed only to a very attentive player. If you enter the catacombs in the west of the city and pass through the dungeon using the Witcher's senses, you will notice that one of the walls is kind of dilapidated. The Witcher will see a secret passage, through which he will enter an ancient dungeon with an ancient tomb and no less ancient statue. Near the tomb, some man will be struggling who seems to have failed to move a heavy slab that covered the tomb. The man would turn out to be a professor at the University of Oxenford, who found this secret burial site during a long exploration and hoped to find in it an ancient elven manuscript that would shed light on the history of this world and recount the events of the first conflict between Ainel and Ainshade. The Witcher can help the scientist open the sarcophagus, but what will be found at its bottom is not treasure, but a higher vampire that regenerates.
Vampire. Probably regenerates here.
Just 5 more minutes. Is it 1358 yet?
No.
Then fuck off.
The Witcher can either leave the vampire alone or wake him up. In the second case, the vampire will become angry and will have to be defeated with a silver sword. However, the manuscript will not be found in either scenarios. A Feast for Crows. Some quests in The Witcher are easy to miss due to the fact that the opportunity to discover them appears only at certain points in the gameplay. Such quests include, for example, the quest A Feast for Crows, which appears at a certain location in Novigrad only after completing the quest Broken Flowers. The quest is located north of the Gate of the Hierarch, near the Rosemary and Thyme. Walking through the streets of the city and turning on the Witcher's senses, you can notice a trail of strong odor of rotten flesh. Following this trail, Geralt will find the corpse of a dwarf. Inspecting the body, he would find a key, take it with him, and walking along the trail which was left behind by the dead one, the Witcher will find the killers, 2 henchmen from the Cleavers gang. The bandits offer the Witcher a deal. Either he gives them the key for a reward, or they will try to kill him.
So, hard to hear me. You've got 2 options. First, give us the key. I pay you for your trouble and everyone goes their own way smiling. Second, make a fuss. Do what Grunt wants. Sit between your ribs.
If Geralt chooses the first option, he will exchange the key for the reward. And in the second case, he will be forced to fight the bandits. And after that, he will be able to use the key himself and take the goods of the killed henchmen. Hidden Messages of the Nilfgaardian Kind. One of the most difficult quests in the game is called Hidden Messages of the Nilfgaardian Kind, and to find it, you need to really look out for everything that comes around and almost always have the Witcher's senses turned on. You can get the quest in the pits not far from Triss's hideout. The first time you go there, you will notice some suspicious people in cloaks in the corner near the archway. When you return to that place after some time, you will notice that these people are no longer there. But using his Witcher senses, Geralt notices that one brick is suspiciously protruding from the wall in that place. After pushing this brick, the Witcher will find a small cache with a note that tells of a conspiracy between the Hierarch, Novigrad merchants, and Nilfgaardian spies. Also, in this note will be directions for the location of a second cache. The second hiding place is also behind a suspicious brick in the wall near the crippled Kate's brothel. There will be another note and a key there. It will already point to the third stash, and the key will open it. In the note, there will be information that Nilfgaard knows Himmelfart's weakness. Allegedly, that will be young girls, and the Empire already has a person who will earn Hierarchy's special trust, and that will assist in taking over the city. After reaching the right place, Geralt will see a descent into the sewers. He will be able to open the grate with the key from the stash and go down. Having destroyed the drowners beforehand, Geralt will find the last stash. In the last note, it will be written that the traitors have broken off negotiations with Nilfgaard, and there remains only a plan to seize power with the help of the Hierarch and a special young girl. Also, in the stash, you can find some coins and some other loot. Message from an old friend. Novigrad is literally a city filled with content. In every corner of the city you can find an interesting quest, dialogue or reference. So, for example, accidentally entering the bookstore in the Hierarch Square and talking to its owner, the Witcher finds out that someone asked the librarian to give the Witcher a book with a red cover. Over the years, it is true that it has gotten lost in the store, and Geralt is forced to find it among the vast number of other books. But he will not regret the time spent, because in the book he will find a letter from an old acquaintance, signed with the letter A. This letter, its content and message, confirmed that it was written by none other than Alvin, the boy from the first part of the game. And considering that this letter was enclosed in the book My Manifesto, The Life of Jacques de Eldersburg, it is safe to say that it's a pretty obvious hint from CD Projekt Red that the fan theories were true. Both Alvin and Jacques de Eldersburg from the first Witcher game are the same person. A final kindness. We will finish the list of interesting hidden quests in the third Witcher game, with a quest with a rather tragic plot. It will be available only in the case of a certain choice during the storyline with Keira Metz in Velen. In case, after the adventures with the sorceress, Geralt cannot change her mind and Keira will go to ask Radovid for forgiveness and intercession, then sometime later, after the events of the Bald Mountain battle with Imlerith take place, this quest will become available. If you find Triss in Novigrad at this time and talk to her, the sorceress will tell you that Radovid only mocked Keira, ordered her captured, bound, and staked. Keira's last favor from the Witcher will only be to try to remove her mutilated body from the wooden stake, so it won't be pecked apart by crows, and give her a decent burial. They will do it with Triss, but they won't be happy about it at all. Well, that's all for today. In the third Witcher game, there are still a lot of hidden quests, which are worth talking about, and which the player can easily miss. We have told only about the best of them in our opinion, and so far we have only gone through the hidden quests of Velen and Novigrad, and there are still a lot of Skellige locations, places that are literally full of secrets and interesting hidden quests. There is also Kaer Morhen with its interesting puzzles, and locations of the Blood and Wine DLC. And of course, the hidden quests in the second and the first spots of the game, and a huge number of amazing stories. Should we speak about them? Be sure to write about it in the comments. Give us a like if you liked this video and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell so you don't miss any of our videos on the Witcher world. Write about what the author may have gotten wrong or what you don't understand. Tell us about the most interesting hidden quests that are memorable for you. Anyway, thank you all for watching this video, and see you soon when the old Witcher speaks once more.